Four comedians are also real good friends, working on jokes, the fun never ends. They're asking each other, is this anything?
Hey guys, I did a set last night.
Ooh.
I did Ghost Tour, I did Hamilton, I did Avoidant Relationship Style, the alarm that changes how loud it is depending on what you steal.
Did you do any stand-up? I know you performed Hamilton and these other shows, but
I did the whole chunk. I did the whole chunk about how chill I am and how my friends had an intervention, and it all worked out great.
That's amazing,
guys. So much new material that we've been able to generate on this show. It's so fun. The material is so much better than if we were just writing it by ourselves.
It's funny, you're saying them, and I remember the subjects, but I don't remember any of the actual jokes.
Mm-hmm. That's how I feel when you do this, Brett.
Oh, we're all narcissists.
I don't even remember the topics. To me, it's all just...
I didn't even know you were part of the podcast. I saw your face here. I was like, oh, yeah.
That's really interesting. I mean, I would love to tell you guys how some of my jokes do when I do a show.
To me, it's all just like, guys, I did the volcano bit. I did space seals.
Pookie, pookie, mookie, mookie.
No,
I
did
did
Brett's
the tag, by the way.
I did Brett's tag for Pookie, Pookie, Mookie, Mookie, and it fucking slayed. So.
I'm like, oh, good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, it feels so good to know that I contributed.
It's Pookie, Mookie, Mookie, Choogie.
Does anybody have hard outs? Because I don't have my 4 p.m. hard out anymore.
Nope.
My soft end is now a hard end because I'm here on time. So that's something I've told my urologist.
That also sounds like your sex life is getting better. I used to do a soft in, and now I do a hard in, which makes it a lot easier. I don't have to use a shoehorn.
I wish you guys could have felt the amount of strain while I was figuring out what I was going to say to be the analogous to what Rob said.
You just started
So
a
much
sentence
math.
with no idea where it was going to go.
I had no idea. I knew a general framework, but I was really improvising a lot.
A hard. Oh boy!
Me and my dad actually talked about this very concept. It was kind of fun because he had a joke that he got off, and it was so funny to me because he admitted that he didn't have the joke until he was like halfway through his sentence. And I was like, oh, that's so cool that you recognize that, because like I've been there many times where I launch into a statement and I'm like, surely something funny will happen by the end of this. But I don't know what it's going to be yet. And then sometimes it just doesn't happen. And you guys have caught me. I'm like, I thought something was going to come, but it didn't come. But then when it does, it just has this awesome feeling of something magic just happening. Because like when you're able to dive in hoping something will happen, and then it does, people are just like, how did he do that? You know, like... The timing seems so cool because he started speaking. People assume that once you started speaking, you had the whole thought. And anyway, but you guys get what I'm talking about. You're all
But when you land it, you're also like, how did I do that?
Yeah, how did that happen?
Yeah, that's really funny.
That, and then there's also on stage. It's happened to me where I say something that I think is maybe just kind of a throwaway line, or like even just a bridge in between ideas, and sometimes the audience thinks it's a punchline, and then I'm like, wait, why? And then I think about it, I'm like, oh, that actually
That's better than the joke I wrote.
yeah, sometimes it becomes the main punchline, and that's weird too.
I have 2 jokes like that in my regular set where the thing that gets the biggest laugh is the thing that I didn't even write to be the joke, but just was like, oh, this will get me to the joke.
Yeah.
And then I say it, and it gets a huge laugh, and I'm like, exactly, that's what I meant to do.
Yeah, that's so interesting because it's such a battle of ego where you're like, you have to be a good comic, you just have to let it be. Like, that is the funny part, and I just have to be like, that's the funny part, and let my idea go. But you also want to be like, I wrote it. I intended it. Yeah,
I crafted
I'm
that.
so funny. Yeah.
I engineered all the laughs that happen in this set.
But the comics who are stubborn like that, they bomb all the time. If they don't listen to the laughter.
I think it counts even if you didn't.
It still came from your
intend.
brain.
Yeah,
Sure.
Maybe your brain knew
It just
why
came
it was
from
funny
the-
before you did.
It came from the left side that is the
Yes.
silent partner. I don't know if you guys watched that video I sent you.
I did.
I
watch
actually
it.
did not. I want to watch it.
Well, thank you for laughing as though you did watch it, Rob. I appreciate that.
I just knew the reference from the
You figured it out from the context.
Yeah,
Are you guys ready to get started?
Let's
Oh,
do it.
yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, does anybody want to do an intro?
I don't think you've done one yet, Jarret.
Oh, man. It's going to be terrible.
And I will not interrupt you.
I'm not going to interrupt either.
I'm going to mute.
All right. How's it going,
I
everybody?
didn't say I
Welcome.
would interrupt. All right, I'm muting.
He's
Sure, he did
quitting.
that.
All right, I'll mute too. As a sign of good faith.
Can I mute you guys? How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Is This Anything, the show where us three good friends and stand-up comedians are getting together to go over new joke ideas and have a good old time. This intro went perfectly. Time to think of the order for this week's. We're gonna plug in the Jarbinator and figure out what our order is. I think the show actually works better when everybody else is muted. I might just do a podcast, a solo podcast. What this experience has taught me is that I can really carry the weight of this whole thing.
For 15 seconds.
Well, hold on, Jarret. You went. You did it. Now we give feedback.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
I say make it longer.
Yeah.
I had more gas in the tank, but I felt like I needed to comment on how great I was doing.
You did a good job.
I thank you, Anthony. I did do a great job.
I wasn't paying attention.
I
was too
said
busy
good,
making
but let's
faces.
not.
Wow, amazing! Wow, Anthony. Good Lord. Wow, you're making me blush over here, but godlike. I did not deserve that. Come on, man. There's only one God.
Allah.
Satan.
Our order for this week is Brett, Anthony, Jarret, Rob.
Picking up career tonight.
Oh,
All right. Yeah, great
it
stuff.
was
You know,
Brett first.
Yeah, it is Brett first. So
Rob.
seems
sorry.
like
So
Brett
it's
was telling you to
Barge.
shut up, Rob.
Barge today, right? Is that what?
Barge,
Right?
yeah.
Badger.
Anthony,
No,
Rob.
Badger.
Badger.
Okay, let's get this started. I have been living alone for the first time since I was in college, and I'm now getting a roommate, and because it's just not affordable to keep doing this. There's a lot of things that I'm going to miss giving up living alone. People have asked me, is it, walking around naked? You might think that. You might think less cleanup, less garbage to take out, less dishes. But really, it's just that sometimes I want to make a sound like "blah" with my mouth, and that's the part that I'm really going to miss. I can't do that anymore.
That's the part that I'm really gonna miss. For some reason, that line makes me laugh.
That is a funny
That's a
line.
perfect line.
I feel like you need something after that where it's like, what does it look like when you do that with a roommate? That
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
ruins it. Like you have to explain it, or
They start doing it too.
yeah,
You
like
go, "Wah," and they go, "Wah."
Yeah, that does make me laugh. Like sort of like I go, "Ah!" and now my roommate's gonna be like, "Hey, are you all right?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm fine."
Yeah.
No, I just
So
heard a noise. I know. It's just a thing that I do. But he's like super cool about it. He's like, "Oh, that's awesome, man! Like, absolutely. Anytime you need to I make noises too. That's not what I don't want that.
Please don't do that.
Please don't."
Now you guys started an a cappella group because of it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like the idea that because then I can just get into it quicker. I just have to remember now That's going to be the hardest thing about getting a roommate is that I have to remember now that I can't just be in the kitchen and have an impulse to go blah and then do it. Because otherwise, my roommate will be like, "Is everything okay?" And I'll have to be like, "Oh, I burned my hand on the stove."
I also like the idea of somewhere in the joke you can like tag it with, and me having to explain that whole thing to my roommate gives me $800 a month. Like that's what I get paid, and I have to do that now.
Right.
And I get $800 a month to do that, something like that.
That's funny that's what it would be worth.
Yeah, I like
To
that.
live alone.
You're quantifying.
Like, I really loved making that sound or being able to make that sound, but I don't know that I would pay $800 to do it.
It is a subscription service, so it's $800 a month, and you can make that noise as many times as you want.
Is that
Or-
the only noise that you make?
Yep.
It's just that's the thing you're gonna miss being able to. "Ah!"
That's yeah.
I
No,
love-
it's just the idea that I can make any sound, really.
Yeah. Jarrett's note is great. I love quantifying the actual amount, but I would like it maybe as well if you really got into the nitty gritty of that, where it's like, or maybe you were actually contemplating. You're like, I like making that noise so much that like I actually thought, maybe I don't need a roommate, and then that's when I realized, but that roommate would have paid me $800 a month. That's how much this noise is worth to me, and so instead of saying it's not worth it, saying it is, it's worth somewhere around that. I would pay somebody $200 a week just to have the freedom to every once in a while be like, whatever that.
Yeah, I would.
Maybe you get a second job so you can support your noise habit.
But then you can't make the noise at the job, so it's still cutting into the time.
Well, why do you want to be here at Kruger and Kruger? Well, that's pretty much
That sums it up.
You'd be surprised how many applicants say that.
Because that's what a lot of life comes down to, is like that sort of negotiation for how much are you willing to pay for thus, and living by yourself is a treat in certain ways, and it's something you pay for. But if you're going to get down to the nitty gritty of like, well, what is it about living by myself that I enjoy? It's so funny to me to say, because people are always like, well, I have to pay a little extra because I live by myself. But you're just like, well, I like going every once in a while. So.
Yeah, it might be funny to frame all of the things, like even the typical cliche things, as a subscription service.
Yeah,
$800 a month, I can walk around naked. I can. I have to take out the dishes, the garbage. 3 times less than I normally would.
You can poop with the door open.
I can poop with the door open, and if I just want to, I can go nah! And I don't have to explain myself to anybody. And so that's why I don't have Netflix anymore.
For some reason, I also want there to be more weird things. Like I'm thinking about like if I want to do crafts in the living room, like I don't have to worry if my roommate has a date that night and I have to explain why I'm making a cloud.
I think that's
Or-
a big one, actually. I sometimes I make collages out of like old magazines and stuff, and you really got to set up shop somewhere. And if you have
Wow.
roommates,
I really thought that was such an example that I was like, I don't think that would be really relatable. And Anthony just swooped right in on there.
that's one
When
that
I make-
yeah,
when I make those collages,
you
with
got to
those-
put it somewhere.
those magazines.
I'll do
By the way,
random
Anthony,
projects.
I
every
just
once-
want to make a point. Those death threat letters are not collages per se.
But I consider myself an artist.
And it's like, yeah, I don't have their daughter, but like, what's the metaphor?
It's called poetic license, people.
Exactly.
You think it's clip art? I have your child.
I will have like projects that I'll do in the apartment sometimes, and and it can be as dumb as like untangling a big ball of twine, or like arranging all the cables that I have that for like printers that I don't have anymore, you know.
I like
And
that you
before I
still
was
arrange them.
well, you know, you never know when you're going to need them, you know. And before I was in a relationship, I could just spend all day doing that and nobody would care. But now that I live with my fiance, if she sees me do that, I have to be like, I have to explain what I'm doing. And there's a part of me that's like, it would be better if I was single and I could just do this without having to explain it. Sorry, this is all part of the melange of
Are you taking the bit for yourself?
the tapestry of things that you can include. You know, just like, I don't know, an idea salad for this bit of Brett's.
Cool. I'm gonna just do blah. Take
Were
none of those
there-
suggestions?
Were there other contenders? Did you answer that question? Were there other things you had
There were
in
no
mind?
other. I just was like, that was just the first thing I thought of.
And that's really the most important thing to you.
Yeah, I'm curious if that's
About-
real.
No, the ability to just do something weird, to sing a song about the cereal that I'm eating,
Yeah.
just to just be literally in my own space with no social anxiety or awareness at all, other than myself, is really what it comes down to. Not as funny of a punchline.
Do you think that there might be room to expand the bit to include what I was just talking about? Like, how are you going to feel when you meet somebody that you might want to settle down with, knowing that they are also going to encroach on that time? Like, maybe the way that you figure out who the one is one day you're cooking and you go, blah! And they don't go, why'd you do that? They just accept it, you know?
They don't even acknowledge
funny.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. Sorry, I must be like, I thought I was a little out of it, but I'm just based off your reactions. I'm really lacking something today. Just real boring.
That's okay. I know how you feel. Also, because of the reflux thing, I stopped drinking coffee, so I feel out of it as well.
Yeah,
there-
you're always so wired, Anthony. You're so lively and
Yeah.
animated.
There have been so many of these episodes where I was just like, we should tell Anthony to switch to decaf because
This is the
losing
real
it.
me.
Okay, I think I have time for one more.
Yeah, of
maybe?
course. We did so much
we
faffing
fucked
about.
around. We fucked
Yeah, we-
around.
Yeah,
so much on that.
I admit, but I think part of the reason I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, and then you guys kept going is I didn't really love that joke that much. And I was like, I kind of want to get to the other one.
Oh, I think it's really
And I
funny.
just kept
though.
going. I think if you're a good creative writer, the idea of unconditional love should really not sit well with you. I mean, do you know the grand scope of conditions? So if I fall in love with a woman and then she works at Home Depot and then she gets injured by a forklift and then she has to be on disability and then she gets addicted to painkillers and then she spends all of her time online, talking to cultists, and then she starts worshiping a demon overlord, and then she sells her soul to the demon overlord, and then she becomes a demon overlord herself, and now she's sacrificing children and stuff like that. I still have to be like, well, I guess it's just a condition, I love you no matter what. My love is super conditional. I'm like, you only got dessert for yourself? Bye.
I think that's really fun. I like that. I don't know what the writer or creative writer.
Yeah,
thing
that
has
part
to do with
confused
it.
me also.
I guess just the term unconditional. I just feel like you should. I was hoping that would be enough, and I gauged the reaction. But I was just thinking like, conditional is like that's everything. That every condition. So if you're a creative writer, then you'll be able to just blow that out. And then I was trying to do an example of a little bit of creative writing. I didn't spend too much time on that part, but
Maybe instead it shows people who believe in unconditional love show a severe lack of imagination. And then you could say, do you have any idea how many conditions there are?
That's
yes,
streamlined.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
I don't think that it exists. I mean, you have to both be human beings. You both have to be alive at the same time. That's just to start with.
Yeah. I'm
And then-
unconditionally in love with, a volcano.
What?
I'm in love with someone who died 100 years ago. I'm sorry. Is his death going to get in the way of my love?
You just don't understand our love. It's unconditional. You wouldn't get it.
All right. Well, then that'll conclude my turn. Thank you, fellas. Unless you have some more.
Good.
Just based on how sleepy you look, I just thought that when you finish, you should get like one of those hats that people wear for bed, like the long pointy ones. You know,
The little candle on the thing.
Little onesie with
that's my time.
trapdoor window in the back.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think it's one of your turns.
Was this ever a thing?
All right. Next is Anthony.
All right.
He's still there.
What should I do? One of my favorite jokes or
Oh God.
Do the one that you don't mind spending 11 minutes talking about, and then 30 seconds talking about the second one.
I don't care about any of these jokes, to be honest. So, recently I had a nightmare that I was back in high school, wandering the halls. I was late for class, but I didn't know where to go. And then I woke up and I realized, oh, I'm an adult now. And things are actually much worse.
That's excellent. That's very, very good.
I spaced out for like half a second. You're in.
I have that problem myself when I tell jokes.
Sorry. You're in high school and you're in your underwear, right?
No, it's just that I was wandering the halls late for class. I didn't know where to go.
Oh, late for class.
I
Okay.
could
Sorry.
I could add in the underwear thing.
Okay. I don't know why my mind just like went off for like half a second, and I think I was filling in the blanks. I was like, he's probably in his underwear. But
yeah,
you're
yeah, the
late for
underwear
class.
trope. Yeah, yeah.
No,
Probably got a
that's
hard
great.
dick. Probably got his shirt off and he's just
Rubbing
doing
his
like a little
nipples,
That's what you said, right?
anal beads.
You know that old trope.
Yeah.
Anyways, the joke didn't work for me. I'm not sure why.
this. My notes, too sexy. This joke is way too. No one's gonna laugh because they're so horny.
What I'm thinking as a part two is that maybe you'd want to get back to sleep to get back to your nightmares.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
just like, ooh, if I could just get back to my nightmares, that'd be great.
Maybe it was like, oh man, I didn't appreciate what I had when I was running around school naked. Didn't have to worry about rent. No. Don't have to worry about how I'm going to pay my bills. Stuff like that.
Yeah. I like
God,
that.
what I
And-
would do to have a visit from Freddy Krueger right now. What are other things that would happen in nightmares? Just generally.
being chased.
chased.
Falling.
Can't talk.
Falling.
Oh, so like maybe like you're like, yeah, I'm being chased by a demon, but at least in my nightmare, I'm getting exercise. I can't even go out and walk right now.
Yeah, my leg has been hurting me for the last few weeks. So.
What else happens in people's dreams? Underwear thing, having sex with your mother and she does not like it. The school one.
I go to sleep in a cold sweat.
That's really good.
Go to sleep in a cold sweat.
I don't know how I would fit that into the joke, the way that it is now that how I read it to you guys. Right? But that's
I'd love to start. I'd love to have another nightmare so I can stop screaming.
You begin your dream. You begin your nightmares with a.
thank
so
God.
excited. And then your girlfriend's like, "It's okay, baby. You were just awake." Oh,
And she's a centaur.
that's great. You were just awake. Yeah, that's good.
you were just awake for 8 hours. Oh God, 12, 16. Sorry.
Or conversely, I'm just like, your girlfriend comes in, she's a centaur, and she's like, "What's wrong, honey?" She's like, I just had the scariest life.
Yeah. I just had the strangest reality.
I love that line. I just had the strangest reality. That's good.
Don't tell me about it. I hate these reality stories. They don't go anywhere. The president's a psycho.
Let me guess.
There's some disease that's killing everybody, I guess.
Oh, I was going to go the other way, that it was like really mundane. Like, let me guess, you brushed your teeth, you had a job, you had your pants on the entire time you were outside in public.
Should I do another one? Well, this one is
Pretty regular.
quick. So I have this line, and I think Rob's probably heard this. I feel like everyone thinks I'm paranoid. It's a line. I feel like it could be done, but it always felt like there needed to be
A little
something
more.
else. Yeah.
Might I suggest... say it again real quick.
I feel like everyone thinks I'm paranoid.
I feel like everyone's always talking about how paranoid I am.
That's
And you're all thinking that I'm paranoid now.
yeah.
Which means I was right.
I feel like the more that you sell the first half of it, the better the joke might land if it was just the one line, where you really stretch it out, because they don't know what you're about to say. You might be like, I feel like everyone thinks I'm paranoid, because then that stretches that out, because you're like,
yeah.
What does everyone think that I'm paranoid? And then maybe with some tags, with both these lines that they said were really funny. But if you just said, I feel like everybody thinks I'm paranoid, right? Right? You kind of attack the audience in that way. You do, don't you?
Admit it. All of you people.
All of you.
Maybe you're paranoid.
Wake up, sheeple!
Here's something the mainstream media won't show you.
I think it's something. I definitely think
think
it's
it's
something.
anything.
And I think that any one of these little addition lines, just to kind of further drive that point home, is funny.
I like the pacing, the idea of changing the pacing. I hadn't thought of that, and that could be part of it. Maybe
Maybe
it's
you should
just
do each word in the sentence as a
I. Period. Feel. Like.
Actually, I had a joke idea for a song, but I wasn't going to write a song. But my idea was that it was going to be the alphabet song, and then you're like, all right, guys, I wrote a little. It's called the alphabet song, and then you're just like, A for animal, A, and it's just 3 long minutes of A words, things about A, the sound A, the diphthong of A to E, and then there's like a little guitar solo in between. And then you're like, B. You're like, oh no. And then you end it somewhere shortly after that. But that's.
I just got the light. C, D, E, F, G, H, I,
Always thought the concept was funny, but I never,
That's great.
I was going to go ahead and write a whole thing. But if you want to write a whole thing, then by all means, you should write that song. Tell me how it goes.
Okay, well, that's probably.
Are you going to write the song, Anthony? I'm sorry.
Should I? Yeah, I'll write this. Do you want to write it together?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for your. Thanks for nothing. No, thanks for all your input.
Aardvark. That's another A word. I'm in. I am in.
He gets a Grammy too.
Oh, you should just get a dictionary, because it's got like lots of A words in it. You
Oh,
just
that's a
take
good
'em.
idea.
Jarrett's in.
All right, so here are my ideas. I'm a liberal because
Here we go.
Oh boy.
Do you have to start every joke with that, Jarrett?
I'm a liberal, and I was on the plane the other day, and what's up with airplane food? I wouldn't eat these peanuts if I was on the ground, and Black Lives Matter.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, I
So
won't
women deserve
interrupt
equal
anymore.
pay.
Yeah.
I'm a liberal because I want to help. I want to do things that will help everybody to have a better life. One of the liberal issues that I care about deeply is diversity. Like, we need more women and minorities in every industry, including comedy. But I realized that I'm a straight Jewish man in comedy, so the best thing I could do for diversity in comedy is quit.
I think that you have a very rich premise right in the beginning, which is the best thing I could do is quit comedy right now, and I think that is the first premise.
I do think
so
they're pretty funny. Yeah.
from there, I think that's where you go funny. I mean, the first thing that I'm thinking of is just like finding the black person in the audience and being like, here you go.
Oh, that's funny.
I like Brett's tag of you just handing it off to a minority in the audience.
I don't know where you go from there.
Well, hopefully he has a good set.
All right, I think it's you now, Rob, right?
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Let's dive right in. I've got a joke about. Is this anything, guys? When I think that men and women having like a sort of not understanding about each other all stems back to that day in 6th grade when they separated the girls and the boys and they taught them about their periods, because guys just never learned after that. That was the one day they had. You know, people use that joke of like, I must have missed that day in high school. We literally missed that day in school. And we just never decided to look into it ourselves. We just, for the rest of our lives, we're like, yeah, something with your vagina. I don't know. Put something in there. Who knows? It's like, we could have, but we just, I don't understand why they did that. If we just all learned it, it may have been painful, like weird, and the boys would have made jokes, but we would have gotten over it, and we'd have all just learned something. But instead, we did this other thing, which I think was really weird. And what we learned that day was weird too. They taught us how to be like CEOs and like how to drive and math and stuff. But they shouldn't have done that. And then they injected us with this toxic masculinity. It's been nonsense ever since. It was a crazy day, very strange. And that's what we've been doing ever since. Anyway, those are a couple of the ideas on that. But I wanted to fixate on this day a little bit more.
I like this idea a lot. I like the joke. It's weird. I have in my notes a joke talking about that same day, but mine was a theory on why women don't like the word moist. It's whatever happens in their assembly. I don't know if they spritz them when they come in or what's going on, but ever since that day, something happens there.
I love that.
They spritz them when they come in. What is that?
And for some reason,
You're going to bleed every month for the rest of your life.
Okay.
and for some reason, they're like house cats, and getting spritz is like the worst thing to them.
But sorry to divert from
No, it's
that joke. I was just like, when you started saying that day, I was like, what are the odds that Rob is writing a joke about this thing as well?
That's great.
But yeah, I love the joke. I think it's great.
Do you enjoy that I just go ahead and just say some funny sexist things anyway, like pretty much right in the middle of it? Like,
That was
Yeah.
it was unexpected. Yeah, it made me laugh.
I mean, the CEO thing is like
goes either way.
Yeah, I think the only ones that are like fun, I like ironically sexist, are learning how to drive and doing math. But if you lean further into the conspiracy of the patriarchy, I think that would be, I don't know, a little bit different, because I feel like that kind of ironic sexism is so played, it's so done, that if you did a little bit more like, that's where we all agree to pay each other more and, to not promote women, like things like that.
It's weird because I made this. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Anthony.
No, I laughed at the irony of it, but I think that potentially it could be funnier if you didn't all of a sudden become an asshole in the middle of the joke. I think if you stated those things and it wasn't, even if you didn't take a stance, one way or the other, I think
I didn't. What about him made him an asshole there?
Well, just the fact that I mentioned math and driving was. But
I didn't. I guess I just didn't pick up the math and driving.
Oh, okay.
I must have tuned out and started, sexualizing you.
And tired Brett is weird.
I like it though.
Call back to Rob phasing, not paying attention.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that it could also potentially help the joke if, if you had maybe, if it wasn't just like a ironic sexism thing, if it was saying something.
What if they started to teach us about anger, but then the bell rang? So we learned the other emotions.
Never got back to it.
That's funny. I've had a couple different takes on this, like literally over the years. I've always kind of like thought back to this moment, this time. But what I did for you guys is definitely first draftish, but I was purposely throwing the couple things in there because every once in a while I like the idea of you being like, the audience almost being like, wait a minute, he said both things. I don't know what to, I kind of enjoy the fact that I'm like, patriarchy stuff, as you said, Jarret, but then also just throwing in two other things where you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to think of this now? Because to me, it's like, that's the joke on top of the joke where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to throw all of it in there. I'm going to say that that's where we learned how to be unfair in this way and that way. But they also taught us the skills that, we act like women don't know how to do as well or whatever. I don't know if that choice is the right choice, but I just want you to know that I purposely did it to make this sort of idea of like, what are you going to do now kind of thing.
Right.
Who knows if that's ultimately right.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the idea behind it.
You could also frame it like that's what they taught us. Instead of taught us driving, taught us the idea that we were better at driving.
Right. I think that goes directly into Jarrett's camp of we're teaching boys how to be a part of the patriarchy.
Right.
I want to get one or two of those examples, but then I also want to just put two examples where I am just stating that there are things that men are just definitively better at women at. And I don't care, honestly, to do that a little bit because I want it to be a little just. Mm-hmm. I want it to be a little bit of a car crash. You're just like, what? What did he just say? Or you're already laughing, and then you're like, yeah, damn you.
You made me laugh at sexism. You jerk.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do,
I don't remember in high school how it worked, but did the boys get separated and then get taught by a man teacher, and the women were taught whatever by a woman?
Probably. I don't know what happened in the girl portion.
Because
we don't know.
It would, we don't know. It would be
Mystery.
funny if part of it was that there's a guy teaching these boys, and he's trying to touch on whatever the girls might be learning about, but obviously he's a man, so he was also taught by a man, and so he's just passing down like this information that he has no idea.
Like, what are the girls learning about? And he's like, I don't know.
Something about their giny holes.
Shiny hole. Because I see stuff on I see stuff on Twitter and stuff where women are like posting about how their boyfriends think that the maxi pad is the sticky part is so that it could stick onto their vaginas. And it's like, who teaches them? And I just think it's funny, like some dude who's like a health teacher, and he's like, yeah, so they peel this thing and then they stick it right on, and then or whatever, just telling him whatever he thinks, and that's how it is. That's how we get to be.
I had another idea for what happens in the guys' class.
Okay.
And I forget how you introduce it exactly, but you're like, and of course, they separate the guys. They give us a beer, they hit us in the nuts, and they say, "That's hilarious."
That's funny too.
And then we play Nintendo.
Do you guys not feel like, and maybe I'm just I don't know about comedy more and more, but like I feel like any path is just a path, I guess you could do the thing where you, and you could do the thing where you, and I'm just really racking my brain to be like, what's just not that? What doesn't
what's
feel
different?
like that? And I like all these ideas, but each one feels like, obviously I could do that, and maybe it's because of that climate where it's like, well, you could either be pro men or pro women. Like those are the two lanes. And I'm desperately trying to come up with a solution to do something that you're just like, that's not it. It's atypical, but I don't have an answer.
I mean,
struggling with that.
That's a great instinct to have, for everything that you write, and especially for something like this where it feels like, men versus women is such well-trodden territory. The one idea I had was maybe it'd be funny if you did all of the ideas, and after one of them you said, just kidding, what they actually do is blah, blah, blah. And then you say, no, just kidding, what they actually do is blah, blah, blah.
Right. Right. Ooh, that's a good point. And then I could just piss everybody off at some point.
Exactly.
That's perfect. But it becomes this huge sticking point for men and women, because women like keeping it secret too, but they were taught to. That's the thing. They're taught like, hey, do you have And then just like they hand off a little between their purse. They do this kind of drug deal of handing off tampons. You're like, well, what's going on there? Nothing. We're good.
They put the
Like,
two
I
purses
don't-
down, and then they pick up the other one and they walk away.
They do a little trench coat.
They
thing.
even have their own code words, Aunt Flo.
Yeah. So it's the
I mean, it's a
secrecy
little
and
bit
the
like
separation that I'm like, I think my true honest opinion on it is that obviously we should never do that. It makes zero sense to me, even if it's just to spare some people's feelings or a little joking and chiding here and there, to think that boys or girls can't handle learning this stuff together. So
I think at that
under it.
age, I think that there's probably I'm erring on the side that there's a reason that they do that, and inexperience probably just the teasing from 8th grade boys is just relentless.
I just imagining like a smoking
punish
crater where one high school was, and just like we can't do that again.
We taught boys what periods were, and then they went ahead they bought thousands of tampons and pads and stuffing in the girls' lockers. They killed pig's blood and just
Why
started pouring
Why can't the boys learn this? Because they can't. All right, because it just doesn't work.
But doesn't that fall into the? I mean, we're talking right, Jarret woke man. I mean, doesn't that fall into the category of like we can't have girls wearing spaghetti straps and stuff?
I'm not woke man. I know we look alike, but he wears glasses. And I know that oftentimes he'll show up like when I'm going to the bathroom, and then when I come back, I'm like, oh, I can't believe woke man was here and I missed it. But we're not the same. We're not the same person. We're not the same person.
I'm sorry. But like, doesn't this fall into the same category of like, we're telling the girls what and what not to wear because of how the boys are going to react to that? Because
Yes.
we're like, well, but just
Yes.
have the similar restrictions and then punish those bad behaviors. Go ahead and
Yeah.
teach everyone about their period, do whatever. And then if people are being shitty, like deal with it. Deal with the thing you're supposed to deal with.
Well, I think all of this is kind of related to some held over like puritanical beliefs about what a woman is supposed to be. Like a woman doesn't poop, a woman doesn't fart. And yes, she does have a period, but she never talks about it. You should never see it. You should never know about it because women are pure and clean.
Right.
Unless they're dirty whores and gross, And so
When I was in high school, I remember in health class, the teacher said he couldn't teach the class as a whole the proper way to put on a condom unless there was some way that we could be
My
separated.
teacher did. He showed us. He put it right on himself. They didn't do that for you? Was I in a weird middle school?
Yeah,
You
I
put
think
one
so.
on me.
Me, him.
It was a whole semester.
I mean, I had the same thing where my teacher was like, I can't show you how to put this condom on unless you put it in your mouth first.
It needs to be moist.
Yeah.
But I thought that in high school, I thought that was weird because even though I just thought, the whole class should know the proper way. Women should know just so that if they see one that doesn't look right, they could be like, wait a minute, that's not.
Doesn't go on your hand.
But because there was like, I don't know
It is
why
if you're
they
trying to
didn't-
finger a girl, Brett.
And I don't know why they couldn't
What?
separate us. But they never taught us.
Yeah.
Why even have, why have the class if you're like, okay, this is a major thing here. We're just going to ignore this. But, make sure you get some dairy in your diet. We'll teach you about the food groups or whatever the fuck. Like, teach us everything.
Yeah.
I don't
Doesn't
know.
it suck when you're putting on a condom and you're like, you're hard. You're like, I want to get in there, and then you put it on the wrong way first. You're like, I hope you didn't see that.
I don't want to waste it.
Got the
Basically.
lube on the wrong side. It's gonna be all lubed up inside now.
Yeah, we just commit, and you're like, uh-oh.
I've done that.
Never
where I
reverse folded it. Never done that. I don't want her to think I'm an idiot.
All the spermicides on the lubes.
No, I know what I'm doing.
You
weren't
need the
there that day
spermicide.
in 6th grade.
You need the spermicide on the inside so that the sperm dies before it touches my penis, or I'll be gay.
Oh man. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today.
Hey, remember GAC?
Yeah, I remember Gak.
Wasn't that just teaching you how to finger a woman into queefing?
Is it?
What was that
I-
toy? What the
Brett,
hell was
you're
I like this bit. I
Brett,
think you should do it.
your time is over, Brett.
is a
You're
solid
not
bet.
bringing new bits to us right now.
I like that. I think it's funny.
Somebody didn't buy GAC when they were a kid.
You know, women love to be fingered.
It doesn't even make a sound. How do you?
Yak, that's a myth.
Did you have that GAC thing before, or is that just something you?
That's just a thought I've
Yeah.
had. I just thought about it like maybe last year. I was like, what the hell was that toy? It's literally like you had to stick 2 fingers in and it would just make a queef. That was the whole point of the toy?
I wonder if queef was the original name. I'm like, we can't call it
I don't think
that.
we can call it that, can we?
I think
Also,
they
I feel
invented
like-
that to give to the boys when they get separated from the girls. And they're like,
What are the girls learning about? Here you go.
No, the girls got those plastic things that like you could never quite hold on to.
I know what you're talking about.
I did too.
The reason I was going to possibly be late is because I had to go pick up an artist relief grant, and it was $500 just for the coronavirus relief. And I was just like thinking about like, oh yeah, I'm an artist, and like how ridiculous that is for me to identify with. And this is just the perfect segment of me being like, yeah, I'm an artist.
I was thinking they give that to the class, and the boys are like, "This is pretty fun," and the teacher's like, "Imagine how good the Gak feels."
So the teacher's like, don't worry about how the guy feels. It's not important.
Brett's already fucking the GAC. I don't know.
I have a condom on. Also, I've thought about GAC. Like the toys that they made in that day and age, I felt like most of them were just like, we were trying to manufacture plastic and we fucked up. So maybe this is a toy.
So this is Floam.
Yeah.
It's Floam. Ah. You're trying to make something for NASA that wouldn't be combustible. Now it's Floam.
This is supposed to go in the bottom of shoes to make you jump better, but now it's just a toy that's really sticky and gross. You have to wash your hands afterwards.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw GAC was at a friend's house, and it was already just filled with shit, dirt, dust, and carpet.
A bunch of fingers have been in there already. I hate that. I hate that. Even
when you-
if it's like totally clean now, but you just know that a bunch of fingers have been in there already. And it's
Yeah.
just
But
like,
when you play with GAC, you're playing with all of the boys that have played with GAC before.
Or just
But
even the
that could be-
shows there. Like, why were they just so obsessed with like slime and stuff?
Yeah.
Ghostbusters with Slimer. What was wrong with our generation, or what they were trying to
filthy.
sell us?
remember Garbage Pail Kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like the
Yeah,
whole
same
crawlers.
generation. We're just like, boys are gross, and we love gross things. And we love poop and vomit and slime
I think that was
Garbage.
probably the pitch meeting.
and mud.
Yeah.
How do we sell mud to kids?
Yeah, you're right. Like the slime thing wasn't even a television show. The entire network was based around it. You know, there were
Yep.
multiple television. What other thing spans multiple TV shows? Like you
On a
can't do
network.
that on television.
Double Dare.
Double Dare.
Double
What
Dare,
would
they
you
had
do?
to pick boogers out of a giant nose.
Yeah, and that was my favorite part. I was disappointed if the little relay thing didn't
How
have the
hard do you think
nose.
it was for them to convince the
Mark
show
Summers?
producers in that the aggro crag wouldn't have any slime on it? Like, hey, this network is built on slime. I was thinking, since I nailed the outro that one time, maybe we could just cut that one and paste it into all the
paste the
outros.
outro here. Yeah.
I definitely.
You don't
can't
wanna do it
that.
again?
No. Hey guys, thanks for listening. If you like it, you want it more, go to patreon.com.
We'll see you on the next episode of
Is
This
Anything?
Anything?
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check back for more individual clips and full episodes every Monday, or you can listen wherever you enjoy podcasts. If you want to support the show and get access to special fan-only content, go to patreon.com/ITAPod. That's ITAPod, as in Is This Anything Podcast. Relevant links in the description. Take care.